cigarettes. But you know what? Now you're podcasting, and there's like 3 or 4 dozen people here, so it seems like that's going well. And but because I've known you so long, I know it must feel great for you to know that you're less valuable professionally than Jason Dick. And Bobby Bones. What, you guys Bobby Bones fans? What are the chances? Seriously, Charlie, I've known you for a long time. I really have, and it's always so much, the word I can't say, fun. Every time I see you, we just sit around and goof off and crack on whatever we wind up talking about. You're one of the funniest dudes I know. I think it's awesome that you're keeping on with comedy because you need to, and you're great at it. And next time we roast you, there'll probably be a million dozen people here.
All right, one more time for Brent Foshee, ladies and gentlemen. I met our next performer, our next roaster, when he was an extra on a sitcom pilot I co-wrote. You've never heard of the TV show, so I know for damn sure you've never heard of him. I don't know which is sadder, the fact that my pilot didn't go anywhere or that I'm using him again in something. Anyway, don't get your hopes up. Mr. Chad Warren.
Thank you, Dan. It's true you don't know who I am, which kind of makes me the Whitney Cummings of the Trump roast. Except I'm funny and I have tits. First grown. Thanks very much. I appreciate that. Somebody mark that down for me. Dan is also an actor. Many people don't know that he does act as well. In fact, he's in the upcoming live-action adaptation of Jack and the Beanstalk. He plays the Beanstalk. Hard audition. Actually, this is the first time I've worked with the Austin Roasters Club, obviously, and I ran that joke by him, and he said, well, it's a little tame for what we do, for the roast. And I was like, you're right, but I'm not one of those comics who thinks that, molesting children is funny. So maybe you should stop. Sell the ice cream van. Donate the clown suit. Get some help, seriously. Brent, I don't know what your problem is with Machine Head, because clearly that's the only kind you're getting. Actually, the only reason they brought me on this roast is because Brent was tired of being the brunt of all the Stephen Root jokes. And if you don't know who the fuck Stephen Root... Who? If you don't know who Stephen Root is, let me just get this out of the way now. I told them if they moved my desk again, I was going to burn the place to the ground. I said, no salt on my margarita, no salt. Big grains of salt. Hey, fat, white, vaguely racist nerd. My name's Pot. You're Kettle. You're black. Seriously, this guy... We look like each other. If I had black glasses on and had shaved, we'd be the Olsen twins. Except 400 pounds of Olsen twins. Really, no, seriously. You look like in another life you would have gone to a Star Trek convention dressed as a Ferengi just so you could say, "My niggas!" Nerd joke that the nerd got. Jimmy Roulette is not here. Does that mean that I should take it easy on him? I'm asking. Jimmy's had some personal difficulties lately. We're not going to get into the details, but I feel like maybe if earlier in his life he had just admitted to him, like instead of writing jokes about it for years and pretending it was humor, if he had just admitted to himself and to his family and the rest of us that he wanted to pouch bang a kangaroo, nobody in here's listened to a single word Jimmy Roulette has said, have you? That's like half his act is the kangaroo bit. Nothing. All right. Seriously, he could have just bribed a zookeeper at some point, gotten that out of his system, and he would be like, if you pick in the Austin comedy pantheon, you're Jono, you're Nancy, you're JR, you're Matt, you're Matt Bearden. You pick the guy, the other Matt. I can't get on his show either, so don't worry about it. If you pick the guy, like I've had this conversation with Danny Smith and a bunch of like other people who book comedy, and the conversation always goes like this: why isn't Jimmy on TV? Why isn't he already famous? Why isn't he the guy who's already made it? And I came up with a plan to get him some of the exposure, the coverage that I think he deserves. But Academy stopped selling black hoodies this week for some reason. And I get the first too soon of the evening. Thank you very much. If you look under his chair, there's a bag with Arizona iced tea and Skittles, but he's not here to take it. It's not that funny. I'm sorry. It will, yeah. I am taking the CHL class this week because of that joke. I want to just take a second to really pay attention to the most underrated guy on this dais. A guy who, you guys, you take you pull no punches when it comes to his weight, his work ethic, his eating habits, the fact that occasionally there's pills involved in him. We all take a couple of pills to try and keep the ghosts of our past from chasing us, just for a damn minute, don't we? I mean, that's something everybody gives into once in a while. Just take a minute, please, and offer a big warm round of applause for Pac-Man, ladies and gentlemen. Long way to go for a really fat joke. Sorry. Joe Parsons, you are, among other things, a well-renowned improv actor in the Austin community. Here's a suggestion from the audience: drink bleach. That was dark. That's fair. But I'm friends with Mary Jo Pale, so I think it's fair. Matt Sadler. I called up a guy I went to college with, Weldon Phillips, to try and get some dirt on you. And he said, I can't tell you anything because I don't know really what the statute of limitations are on any of it. But I will tell you that a sphere is not the most amusing shape he's ever pooped. Ask Weldon. Okay. He won't say anything because I made that up. My favorite part of the show in listening to podcasts, and I used to listen on KLBJ, and I started getting into the podcast because my favorite part has always been the fact that Matt inevitably makes Charlie's TCU education obviously not worth the wet fart in a windstorm. Like, inevitably, just this last one, there was the Crimean War, and jurisprudence, which you spelled jurass-prudence. What I'm trying to say here, Charlie, is Matt quit being such a damn know-it-all. Nobody likes a know-it-all, especially one who's of the tribe. And really, of all the, I know, you have the background, the talent, and the sense of humor to be America's next Don Rickles, and you're picking to be America's next Don Knotts. Why? I'm not even sure if I want to do this. Charlie Hodge. We don't know each other personally. We've seen each other at Cap City, but you wouldn't remember me because none of you were going to remember me either. Started out on the Dudley and Bobby show in the ejector seat. It wasn't called that until you left. That's not a zing because you immediately got into your own show, which is awesome. And I actually did like the show because as soon as it came on and it was lunchtime, and I could leave the office. Sadly, that show, and this is strange, like I remember, do you guys remember right around the time of the brush fires, the really big wildfire, is when they knocked you guys off the air. Which kind of makes you sort of the Tortellis, or the Aftermash, or the Joey of the Austin radio market. The Joni Loves Chachi, if you will. Which may actually be totally accurate, representation. I don't know if you guys know this, but after Joni Loves Chachi went off the air in Korea, it found a huge amount of second market success and became like a really popular show, largely because the word Chachi in Korean means penis. And Charlie loves penis. So, in fact, I think it's kind of weird that you both married girls named Becca. Like, is that just so you don't accidentally call out the wrong name? I don't know if that, like, do you get to the studio, the sound guy leaves, you decide who's going to be Becca that day, and then just go to town, or... Somebody's catching on with what I'm implying here. I'm saying they do the gay to each other in the sound booth. That's what I'm saying. There's some French kissing of no-no holes going on. That's... And I implied earlier that you were not smart, and I apologize for that. It's not just that Matt's smarter than you, it's that I think this dais may be smarter than you. And in that, I mean that it's rented, which means it's getting paid to do this job. As opposed to just begging every 7 minutes. Seriously, you guys should think about hosting a class for homeless people and public radio stations on how to beg for money every time I take a breath. Actually, I worked up this little skit about giving you the Larry the Cable Guy award for being worshipped by an audience who's too stupid to know you're making fun of them. But I think they may be smarter than me. How do we end this?
Quickly.
Thank you. 17 years ago, I met Aaron Tippin when I was working at the Performing Arts Center. And I had my first Tippin moment. And it was with Aaron Tippin. It was actually Aaron Tippin. I walked in and checked the schedule, and it said Aaron Tippin, and I didn't know. So I turned around and I yelled, who, the word I can't say, who the hell is Aaron Tippin? And this 5'3" guy with an asshole haircut and like a wiener duster mustache gets right up in my face and he says, me! Dang it! And I think that may have been the first Tippin moment unknown until now. In fact, I'm going to give you a word to add to your broadcast, the Tippin point. Instead of just the Tippin point is the point where your average, tipping point, it's a stupid pun, I'm aware. The tipping point is where your average white Anglo-Saxon Protestant who's relatively moderate will take a position that's extremely conservative and angry on the off chance they'll get to punch some know-it-all Jew in the nose. Hole's done. So I said, who the hell is Aaron Tippin? And when I told people that I was doing the roast of Charlie Hodge, literally 9 out of 10 of them said, who the hell is Charlie Hodge? No, seriously, the podcast is doing really well. You guys are getting 20,000 downloads on average, right? Last time I checked. I could be wrong. That's almost 1/10 of the hourly downloads of any video featuring a black couch with a girl auditioning to get into the adult industry. So the good news is, if it doesn't work out, I know where you can make $1,000 to $5,000 a day if you're willing to take direction. So who the hell is Charlie Hodge? Turns out he's a nice guy with a good heart and a loving family, and he cares about this town even as it changes. He accepts and loves the way that we're changing as a city, and I love you for that. Charlie Hodge, ladies and gentlemen.
Chad Warren, ladies and gentlemen.